smile, I could lift that. All right, 1, 2, 3. All right, all the way up here. Come up here. Come up here. Come over here. All right, we're gonna throw it on 3. 1, 2, 3.
A little update on property improvements. When I came out here 3 months ago, 2.5 months ago with a rental track hoe, I knew there were areas of the road where water drained across the top of the road and washed them out. So I installed a total of 11 of these culverts to get water under the road. Look at the deer tracks everywhere. And I dug a ditch on the high side of the road, almost all the way to the power lines, probably more than a quarter of a mile. But when I was doing that, it was dry as a bone. It was so dusty, I couldn't really get anything to compact. It was hot. It was those weeks where it was 105. So I worked about 3 weeks off and on, gave up the track hoe, got the road graded by borrowing a neighbor's tractor with a regular old box on the back, and it came out pretty good. Now, we've had like 3 weeks of rain, and we found more problem areas on this side of the road. So I got the little track hoe I borrowed, and last week I came and dug a bunch of ditches on this side of the road to let the water go to these same areas. But this time it was muddy and sloppy. Everything that I dug was just slop. So I just kind of piled it up on the side of the road, waiting for it to dry, waiting for the grass to rot so I can kind of grade it out. So it'll be better, but right now it's worse because it's lumpy. And it's really hard to grade dirt that has big clumps of grass in it because it wants to ball up. But anyway, we'll get it done. Now in my yard, I'm calling this my yard because this is where the teeny house is going to go. I dug this ditch on this side. I put a culvert so we could get across with the cars. And it's dried up. We have 10 days of sunshine forecast. I'm so excited. It's dried up a lot, and I've been working all up in here to clear the underbrush so that when we're sitting on the porch of the teeny house, we can see all up among these big trees. This is not the same as this cut over pine forest. These are hardwoods. It's really pretty.
So let's go back in time a couple of months. I picked this spot to put the teeny home. It's a compromise. I kind of wanted to be under the trees. I've always liked to be under trees, but so many trees have come down in the last 5-8 years of hurricanes. I'm a little apprehensive about being under trees. So I'm not under the trees, but I'm right across from the tree. So we'll have a very good view out of both the door and the kitchen windows. So picked this little spot and cleared it out. It's it's typical of a lot of our property. It's got little baby pine trees and vines and thorns and everything else. And I dug up all the trees, cleared out all the vegetation, or I tried to, hauled it across the road and burned it, and kind of left the site. This is in the beginning of the summer. It was super dry, super hot, and I kind of just got burnt out. I just had enough after about 3 weeks of every single day. So I left it. And what I didn't realize at the time was that the general slope of the land comes from these trees across to where I made this little spot. And so water flowed here. And when I left, it was not compact. It had nothing but root holes. It was a mess. So water soaked into the ground like really deep. And when I got back with it, a couple weeks ago, it was really, really muddy. Of course, it had rained every day for like almost a month, and that didn't make it any better. But I had a problem with the dirt being too wet.
And I didn't realize the water was going to come out of these pine trees that slope is this ways and just sit in this area. So I got hit with a double whammy. One, the ground was not compact, and two, water for the last 3 weeks has just been coming and sitting, so it was terribly muddy. So I came last weekend and kind of broke it up and turned it over so it could air dry. And it was supposed to rain that afternoon, so I sealed it back up because the worst thing you want to do is break it all up and get a rain. When I came today, I broke it up again, and no rain in the forecast. I'll probably come not tomorrow, but day after tomorrow, and flip it all up again, and it'll just get drier and drier. And then I'll lay it down and seal it before we get to first rain. My teeny home location, super muddy, super soft, squishy, bouncy. So 2 days ago, I took the track hoe and broke it all up and tried to break up the clods as much as possible so we could get some drying going on. Today, I'm gonna try to put it back and see if it's dry enough. Now I can't just take the machine and run over the top of this because that little machine won't compact 1.5 feet of dirt, which is about what this is. I'm gonna have to move material, compact down low, put a little more in, compact again, put a little more in, compact again. And as long as it holds up well, I'll keep on going. If I find a soft spot, I'll just leave that broken up. But beautiful morning in Osaka, Mississippi. 68 degrees, clear, no rain in the forecast, so everything's looking up. Before I put the machine in here, I'm gonna walk through and grab what roots I can, throw them to the side. It's kind of a never-ending job, but I'll at least try to get the big ones and get them out of here. So I've been working on this for about an hour. I got the grade better, so it slopes, or should slope. This half is pretty good, holds up the machine without pumping. This half still pumps, it still moves around when you step on it. I don't know if you can see that. So this is no good, so I'll dig this half back up, and maybe in a couple hours I'll try again, or I'm coming back on Sunday. This is Thursday. There's no rain in the forecast, so I'll open up this half again and just leave it open, and try to grade it out again on Sunday. This is something that came out of a computer. I think it's a cooling fin for something. Put it up in this tree. Wonder if anybody will ever notice it. So I got a bunch of these 2x4s, and they're about done being 2x4s. They don't have much left in them. They've given it their all, but I'm gonna ask them to do it one more time. So I cut 16 pieces, 20 inches long, and I drilled holes in half of them for a rope, and I'm making little forms, and I'm gonna pour 8 concrete pads to set the teeny home on, 6 for the main part and 2 for the bathroom. And I'm putting the rope loops through there, and after I pull the forms, I'll tie the loose ends into a loop so we can drag them around with the four-wheeler, because they're gonna weigh about 110 pounds each. And that's kind of heavy, and it's so awkward to handle weight underneath like under a house or under this trailer or whatever. So I'm taking the time to put the ropes in there. I think it'll make it much easier when we get ready to move these things around. So I make 8. I made 4 sets. We're gonna pour 4 and let that cure and rectiforms, and then pour 4 more. And at that time, I think these boards will have graduated to the burn pile. I think they've made a valiant effort to last as long as they possibly could. I was wrong about it being dry. Everything's just super sticky, messy. If I try to do anything with the Traco, excuse me, if I try to get out on that road and do anything, I'm just gonna make a huge mess. I'm gonna go ahead and pour these 4. I've got them laid out on a piece of plywood, and I got water right there. I got my concrete over there, and I think I can roll a wheelbarrow across the street. I'll mix these up and pour them, and then I'm gonna go check out the machine. 3 down, 1 to go. I'm hoping I have enough concrete to do the last one. I have another whole bag, but I hate to use a little piece of a bag, but it's no big deal if I have to. If I have to, there's plenty of place to waste it out here.
So I ended up using 10 80-pound bags of ready mix or easy-crete, or whatever you want to call it. So that's a little more than 100, or that's exactly 100 pounds a block plus some water weight. So they're going to be pretty heavy, but my goal was not to make them heavy, but to give me some good surface area. So kind of a compromise. You know, I could have made them 4-foot square, but I couldn't have moved them. And I could have made them thinner, but you lose some strength. So these 20 by 20 by 3.5, I think, is a good compromise between surface area to support the teeny home and strength to make sure it doesn't, crack in half when I put the cinder blocks on them and add some weight to them. Making use of the fact that I have a little Traco borrowed to help clear all the underbrush and unwanted trees from my yard area. Bring them over here in the road and burn them up. Pretty intimidating the first time I made a fire here, because I have absolutely no way to put out a fire if it gets out of hand. But after making a couple of small ones. It's really not that bad. The stuff doesn't burn like crazy hot. It doesn't send sparks up in the air. And everything around here is super green. So, you know, I got to burn. I don't have trash pickup. And so far, I'm between the road and the ditch on the other side, so I have a little buffer area. But get these fires started with the propane torch and my wife's lawn blower, and between the two of them, can usually get things burning. My son has a huge pile of this same stuff where he's cleared his acre or two, and he hasn't been able to get them to light yet. He went diesel and everything else, so it's not like this stuff just goes up like a match. The moisture content of the ground and all the living trees is just super high here. It's not like the poor people in the Midwest that haven't had rain in forever.
All right, I got it going. It's not super easy because most of this stuff is green that I just cut down, or just super rotten. Mostly dirt, but we got it going now. Should all burn up before I leave today. People call these swamp spiders or banana spiders. They're quite large and they're quite plentiful, and they build beautiful geometric webs that are really pretty to look at, and they're pretty spiders. But they love to build nests right at eye level. And if you're not watching and turn around and walk into one of these nests or webs, it will give you the heebie-jeebies for sure. Okay, just got into my first hornet's nest, and they got me pretty good, all over my hands and wrists. So, park the track hoe, turn it off. I got the key. I'll leave it here. I have to come back with, let them calm down, maybe come back with a spray can. I don't know, man. I must have really messed up their nest. They're not happy. And I was trying to clear out so I could cut down this Chinese tallow tree, because it's a big one. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, they got me good. I'm gonna go past here real slow and see if they won't leave me alone. I can't run or they'll chase me. Okay, I'm back to the scene of the crime. I was gonna walk the track hoe out of here this morning while it was cool, but just moving some stuff on the trail got them swarming, so now I'm a little scared. I did bring some firepower, and I brought some diesel. I think I'm just gonna let the track hoe sit where it is, and I'll go ahead and make my fire and see if I can't get rid of some of these things. I don't know. That wasn't any fun the other week. I got 6 bites, and at the time I said, well, these hurt, but they're not that bad. But as the day wore on, those things hurt for 24 hours. These things are not to be played with, so we got to get rid of them. We'll have kids coming through here on 4-wheelers, so I definitely got to get rid of them. I'm gonna go get a gallon of diesel and spray them and light the fire and see what happens. I've got a gallon of diesel. I got my torches lit. It's only getting warmer, so the cooler it is, the better chance I get of getting them while they're all in the nest. I'm gonna douse it, I'm gonna flame it, and I got my bug screen on my head, and I'm nervous. See what happens. To add to the creepiness factor, I can't see a hole where they're coming out of. They're in this rubble, and there was rubble here when I pushed it with the hoe. So the little hornets came out from all kind of different directions. And this morning, while I was watching them land, they were going in all kind of different directions. So they're just amongst this pile of rubble, and it's really hard. I don't have a single hole to attack. I just got to burn this whole area. So I guess in a way I was kind of lucky. I was on the machine, which puts me sitting, I don't know, 4 feet above the ground, and the boom is, I don't know, maybe 10 feet long. So, you know, I'm clearing out on the side of this little trail, trying to make a ditch and trying to get more material to raise the trail up so it'll be drier. It wasn't like I was walking and stepped on a nest. I was a little bit away from it. I didn't notice it at first. I looked back and saw the swarm, and it was just like a cloud, like there were just thousands of them. And then a few of them started attacking my hands and my legs. And I think in hindsight is because sitting on the machine, I'm sitting still, but my hands and my legs are operating. They're moving, and they see that movement.
luckily there was only maybe a dozen of them after me, and the majority of the swarm just ignored the traco, and I just tried to track ahead as fast as I could and to get where I could get off of the traco. And tracos track really, really slow, especially when there's hornets chasing you. But I was able to drive with my feet and swat with my hands, and I just got a little bit up the trail and turned off the machine and bailed. And they left me alone pretty quickly, probably because I didn't run. I just got off the machine and slowly walked away. And after about 15 minutes of just standing there, I walked back. I had to go back right by the nest to get out. The other way, the trail's a loop, but it's almost a mile long, and it's really wet from all the rain. So I had tennis shoes on, so I decided to, maybe it was a risky move, but I walked right back the way I came in. They left me alone. I walked real still. I didn't create a target for them. But we're burning them, baby. Burn, baby, burn. So the nest was under some rotten material from when whoever clear cut this area left a bunch of stuff on the ground. So while I had the fire going, I put a pretty good pile of lumber on top of the fire to let it burn for a long time. And that worked really good because hours later it was still really, really hot.
Well, the diesel is burning down. I don't see anything flying, so I don't know where they're hiding in the hole. Oh, there was one that just went by. There's a few of them flying around. I'm just gonna stand real still. No, that was one. I'm gonna stand real still, and if I see him, I'm gonna burn him. Turn the camera off for a while. It's hard to appreciate how slow one of these tracos goes. Okay, you're trying to outrun a hornet. But I did it. Luckily, they didn't, I don't know. I got hit 6 times, but there were millions of hornets, so I really got out lucky. So it was 10 o'clock. I lit the big fire at 7, so 3 hours later, there are still hornets flying around. It's looking like they're looking for the hole in the ground, so I don't know whether these hornets survived the fire or if they were out doing whatever hornets do and came back. But yeah, I didn't get them all. I'm gonna have to, I'm not gonna do anything now because it's warm and they're fast. The next morning I come while it's still cool, I'll just douse them again, burn it again. Yeah, they're all over the place. So this is where the hornets were, and they're not now. And I tried to dig to find a nest, but I didn't find it. But anyway, I did manage to uproot and cut down the tree and poison the stump, which is kind of what I was after in the beginning.
On a lighter note, I don't know if this is because we've had so much rain or this is normal for out here, but all kind of cool looking mushrooms come out the ground. I'm not going to eat them. I don't know anything about mushrooms, but they're pretty. I like to look at them.
So I've been pretty busy lately. Actually, the 2 weeks I skipped my videos just because I didn't have the time or take the time, or I just felt stressed. I got bronze work that needs to be finished. I got that teeny house that needs to be finished and moved. I got the borrowed track hoe. I need to get out there and do dirt work while I have the track hoe. And of course, as usual maintenance, I have 2 rental properties in the yard and everything else, just like everybody else. So the last thing I need is another.
So yeah, I got another project. This is a 1974 Cushman truckster. It's got a 2-cylinder gas engine. It's got a hydraulic dump bed. It's got a PTO. It's got a lift kit somebody put on it with bigger tires. And I think it's really cool. And I guess I'll have a series on rebuilding this thing because it needs a lot of work. But I got it for a good price, and I need a little vehicle to run around on the property. And those side-by-sides that are made by everybody these days are really cool, but they're about $20,000 for one.